Good morning. I hope that you are well, that you are feeling healthy, and that you are strong in mind, body, and spirit. May Hashem send a quick and easy refuah shlema to those who are not well and keep us all safe and healthy. Today is the 15th of Tammuz, which is the yartzeit of a very great mystic from some 300 years ago, Rabbi Chaim ibn Attar, the Ohr HaChaim. He gets his name for the commentary that he wrote on the Torah. The Ohr HaChaim is buried in Jerusalem, and under ordinary circumstances, today there would be thousands of people at his graveside because it's a time for prayer and it is a time for blessings. The Ohr HaChaim had a unique style in his commentary on the Torah and would often bring practical spiritual lessons that we could apply in our lives. One of them, very interesting, is when he comments on the story of the splitting of the sea. We know the story. The Jews had reached the edge of the water. Behind them were the Egyptians. The Egyptians had a mighty army. The Jews stood no chance. They really stood no chance. And by all the rules of nature, there was nothing to do. There was no way out. So you can imagine that they panicked. And they began to cry and they began to daven. And Moshe began to daven to Hashem because there was nowhere to go. There was the sea in front of them and the most powerful army in the world behind them. If you think that we're experiencing uncertainty, you can only imagine the uncertainty that they felt at that point in time. And Hashem responds in a strange way. He says, Ma titzak elai? Why are you crying out to me? Daber el b'nei Yisrael v'yisou. He says to Moshe, speak to the Jewish people and tell them to walk, tell them to go, to move forward. And the Ohr HaChaim says, this is such a strange interchange. I mean, obviously they're crying out to Hashem. They're desperate. What else should they do? Obviously they cry out to Hashem. And he explains something fascinating. Hashem always has kindness, compassion, and mercy ready for us. The question is whether or not we are ready for it. In other words, Hashem has designed the world in such a way that He's empowered us to create the channel through which He'll give us His bracha. At that point in time, everybody panicked, which is normal and natural, and they cried out to Hashem, which is appropriate. But what they weren't yet doing was creating a channel, doing something proactive, doing a mitzvah that would open the sluice gates to allow the blessing, the salvation, the protection that they needed at that particular point in time. So what did they need to do to open those gates? Speak to the people and tell them to move forward. But there's a sea in front of us. How can we move forward? That means that you're going to show that you trust Hashem. You trust that He will protect you. You trust that He will get you through this. You trust that if you do what you need to do, the miracles will happen. You don't have to know how they will happen or what the miracles will be. It's an incredibly powerful lesson because that means Hashem's telling each of us. The Torah is a book of lessons. It's not a book of history. It's a book that speaks to us in our current situation. Hashem is telling each of us, if you want to move through this, if you want to get through the difficulty, past the challenge, after the uncertainty, then you need to do what you need to do with confidence, with trust, that I do my best and Hashem provides the miracles. I do what Hashem expects of me and He will then do what I would like from Him. May Hashem bless us that we have the kind of miracles that they had at that time at the sea. I wish you a wonderful day. Stay safe and stay sane.